One. That's one.
And we're live.
Hey, and we're live with the Crow's Nest. With
Hi, everybody.
Ruth Buzzy. No, that's that other stupid show.
Ruth Buzzy? How old are you? Good Lord.
I'm channeling my inner Ron Hawkins.
How old is Ron?
Dude.
Is that he must be like 70.
I have no idea even who Ruth Buzzy is. Do you honestly know?
Okay.
What did Ruth Buzzy ever do? Do you have any
she
clue?
was a
I have no
justice
clue.
on the Supreme Court of the United States.
that's the RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, not Ruth
okay.
Buzzy.
Okay. Well, then I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know anything about Ruth. I know about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She died.
Okay. Well, that's good.
But
cultural
Ruth Buzzy,
literacy is important.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that as well. Are we on Twitch?
Yeah.
Are we actually on there?
Huh, well, Max Styles is going off with Flip Wilson and Foster Brooks, and someone says laughing. So apparently we're hitting the right demographic with your Ruth Buzzy comment.
Yeah. Welcome to the show where you combine gaming and geek culture and no, that's not our show either.
Out-of-date references that people still know. It's gratifying in a lot of ways.
Max Styles is on. Oh, look, we got little Pat Keith on. He wants to see what's going on with the whole sculpting thing. And Otis the Pony Hobby. Hobby Pony.
Hobby Pony.
Sorry.
Pony Hobby Pony is probably interchangeable.
Yeah, my dyslexia is shining through again. Hey, Crow's Nest, Tuesday, 25th. This is episode 2 in our trying teaching me how to do some basic sculpting.
It's the 25th already?
It's the 25th. It is.
God.
It is. It's crazy, right?
Man, I should be thinking about March, I think. It's almost leprechaun season.
You do. Hey, where's Bob and Julie? I don't see them on here.
I don't know.
I'm going to be really disappointed if Bob and Julie aren't on here. Poketool. Every 5 subs will give away a Poketool. For those regular viewers, I'm sure you're used to it. But yeah, throw in the subs. This is what not to do with Poketool. You see?
One random day we should give one away for every sub. Wouldn't that be funny?
Oh my God. Oh, there's Bob and Julie. They're there. Goo. Oh, and you're here too.
We missed the earlier post, apparently.
Okay. I must have missed that. Jason Weeby's here too.
I am. Where?
That's good. Well, in chat.
Oh, I am. Yes, I am.
Okay, good. Yeah. All right,
I'm trying to watch chat because one of the things about this show is we're trying to get people to ask questions if they have questions about just basic putty use and tools and that kind of thing.
Cool. Hey, Julie. That's fine. Not sculpting related, but just saying.
Oh, look at that.
I'm working on. Yeah.
That's sweet.
I'm just saying, Julie. Take a look. Okay.
That's a great dragon.
So it is. It's one of my. It is probably one. There's been a lot of dragons that have come out, and I've got a lot of favorites, but that one will always hold.
Have you painted it more than once?
Yeah, this will probably be the 3rd one that I've painted.
Wow, you must really like
over time. Yeah, I like it a lot. I like it.
Well, I didn't think you were painting 3 of them at one time.
Oh well, no. I still got to finish that blue one that I was painting. That's going to be part of the Kickstarter. Yeah. When is that Kickstarter supposed to start?
I believe March.
Okay.
Is the plan, but I don't think we're firm on the date yet.
Hey, what were the mixtures of our green stuff? So we did yellow and green. So blue is B and yellow is A.
So we mix the blue side half and half with the B side from Aves, and we mix the yellow side with the A side from Aves. And that way the putty doesn't harden off on itself. We just do about half and half epoxy and green stuff.
So, and then the other one is the B. And if you go B is blue, then you won't mess
Yep,
up.
that's a
A, and
mnemonic.
then you'll be
B and
like,
blue are always safe
yeah. And then
until
you're like,
someone
well, what's
changes the
A? And
formula or something.
you're like, what's A? I'm like, what do you got left is yellow.
Right. Port or
Okay.
starboard.
Which one is that?
I don't know. I never remember. One's left and one's right and one's left over. I can't remember.
So port is like if you're facing, I think port is the right side if you're facing towards
Okay.
the front of the
Because it's
boat,
got four
and
letters.
and starboard is the left. I'm
Oh,
pretty
starboard is
positive.
the
I've been
left.
on
Well,
a
that
lot of
doesn't make any
boats, but
sense. Who invented that system?
because it's facing the stars, starboard,
Well, the
and you're
side
not,
that's
and
up is
port's facing the
facing the
port.
stars. If the other side, if that's up, then the other side is down toward the bottom of the ocean, isn't it?
Yeah, port is left. That's what I said.
Why it's
Left.
up and down?
Yeah,
Oh well.
port is left as they are spelled the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there.
Same letters.
Yeah.
That's what I thought I
And
remembered.
bow and stern.
So anyway,
We should
B
we should know this
B
since we're
putty,
on a
B
boat now.
Aves putty mixed with blue
Yeah.
green putty, half and half is what we start with. Never
Yeah.
fails. Always works. Leaves a crisper putty. It can be filed, drilled, sanded, tapped, all that stuff.
Yeah. And Otis the hobby pony was in the Navy and ROTC, but still it's the Navy. And he never got that right either. It's confusing. I don't know why they call it left and right. Front and back. Up and down.
That's exactly why. Which way are you standing?
Oh, it's true. Okay.
So
That
anyway,
makes sense.
so everything else is
Hey,
going well.
no, but we're going to sculpt.
Okay, we're gonna
Yeah.
sculpt. What are we
All right.
sculpting today? A squirrel?
We are sculpting a crazy large squirrel. Look, it's
Okay.
still a small squirrel compared to life size. I mean, how do you think this is looking? Because I'm a little
I get
concerned.
it's gonna be a big squirrel, but as I said, it makes
Yeah.
more sense to start out a little bit bigger, and then
Yeah.
we'll finish off by how I do a tiny in scale squirrel. But if you want to
Ah,
learn the
okay.
technique, we have to learn on something big because a tiny in scale squirrel is just going to be a little piece of putty.
Are we still sure that the squirrel was the best subject matter?
No, I've been trying to get you
Okay.
off that since the start, but you kept sending me that picture of the squirrel.
I didn't realize I was just sending pictures of squirrels just because it was fun that day. Don't get in
So,
my
well,
messaging because you'll just get random stuff sent to you,
yeah,
right? Sometimes
well, not
inappropriate.
not as random as some of us.
All right, so I mixed up some green stuff.
Did
The
you?
blue
Well,
and
you're way
yellow.
ahead of
Yeah,
the game.
yeah,
So, what I
yeah.
want you to do first is find your little
Okay.
plastic sheet,
Oh, I could. Damn it!
your
I
little
wish I
plastic
could, you wouldn't
divider.
ask me that. All right, you gotta ramble then. You gotta,
Good Lord,
yeah,
really?
yeah.
I thought you said you were ready this time. I even
I,
cleared off
I,
my desk.
I know. So you have an actual working surface where people are going to see what the hell you're doing this time, as opposed to
I
last
do.
time.
This, by the way, is the hobby holder that we're using. Works real good with a pop cap.
All right, I'm going to have to
Over
use
there in
this
the
because I can't
corner
find the other
is
thing.
the little ad for Bees Putty. Make sure and go to beesputty.com
Uh
and
huh.
take a look at all the wonderful things that Stefan has put up and made. He's got sculpting tools, dividers, fur tools, chainmail tools, and Bees Putty itself, which is a polymer clay that's wonderful for sculpting miniatures. And
So if
again, the
you're a
advantage of
furry,
polymer clay,
uh huh.
what?
If you're a
The
furry and you
advantage
want
of
one of those fur
God
tools,
damn, when are you gonna quit talking so I can finish my blather? Or
all right, go ahead. Go ahead. Start.
that's a great
Uh,
pointy tool. What have you done with that now?
I don't know.
Good Lord,
I don't know.
it's a good thing you have an unending supply of them because you're your own guest.
Exactly. Exactly.
Anyway, I was going to say the benefit of polymer clay over epoxy putty is
Uh,
epoxy putty sets in a half an hour or
uh-huh.
so. Polymer clay never sets until you bake it. So if you're someone that likes to spend a lot of time with a sculpt, use polymer clay.
Ah, okay.
All
But
right.
then you have what do you bake it in?
You bake it in. I used to use a toaster oven.
Mm.
So, and
But you
you
shouldn't
can do
use like a
various
real
things.
oven.
I used to do that, but
Yeah.
then your baking kind of tastes like polymer clay after a while. You have to get a
Ah,
new oven, that kind of thing.
okay.
Much better to
Yeah.
go buy a toaster oven well, I'd buy a new one. I wouldn't buy a used one because you never know.
Because what you don't know what's cooked in there, and then your miniatures
That's
are going to
right.
smell like,
Well, and it might
um,
just start your house on fire. That wouldn't be good.
well, then your miniatures smell like pizzerinos or whatever. I don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that's so. Anyway,
unless that's what you're going
get
for.
you got your little plastic sheet, which isn't the one I sent you. Okay.
I know. I can't find it. I
It's
get an
okay.
F today. Yeah.
I sent Michael one of these dividers just from a toolbox, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And these are great because the putty sticks to it just enough and yet releases just enough that it's very useful. So, anyway, pull off, I don't know, let's say 3/4 of a standard pea, dried
Standard,
field pea,
a
not,
dried
not one of
field
those
pea.
Macintosh peas.
I don't know the difference. Is it frozen or non-frozen?
A little frozen without the dimples.
Okay. How about that? Is that good?
Yeah, I suppose. I
Okay.
can't tell. Oh, because you got it next to your bent up tool. Okay. So
Oh, look at
I
that.
figured,
Next.
since we're doing a squirrel, it's we should have started with the nuts, but we didn't.
D's nuts.
Why do you keep saying that every time I say that?
Because you've seen that. Remember? That was
Yes.
the methed out. That was the methed out
No,
squirrel
I know what it
that
is.
attacked
Again,
everybody.
it's a little bit better than Ruth Buzzy, but I'm not sure for relevance that you're hitting. Now,
Who's?
what I want to do,
Uh,
here, Michael, is do an acorn cap.
oh, wow.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
just the cap. So tap out something, shape it a little bit so it looks like
Is it a dome?
yeah, dome,
Okay.
a little bit bigger than a thumbtack head, maybe one of those fancy
Yeah.
thumbtack heads.
I got a pretty big thumbtack head. I have a pretty big
It's all
head,
right.
anyways.
Well, that's
Okay.
okay. I mean, I wouldn't make it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't make it peaked.
Oh, it's not. No, it's rounded.
Okay, I couldn't tell. All right,
Yeah.
so
See, look at that.
we have
That's pretty
that.
good, huh? Is that good?
That's great. Now, do you have
Mhm.
that little hollow tube thing I sent?
This the pen. This.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that.
No, I don't have mine handy. That's
You
fine.
know, I I don't have it.
You don't have it. You
I
do have.
don't look. I okay.
That is one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's what you made. It's what you sent.
Okay. So I use those Pigma pens for drawing
Mm-hmm.
and just taking out the wick when they're done leaves you a nice little hollow tube that you can use for sculpting
Hmm.
if you need perfect
Hey,
round circles.
we missed a raid. We got raided by Kathy. Well, Pell.
That's
Thanks,
nice.
Kathy.
Shall sends nice people over here too.
I know. Not like when we raid people. All
No,
right.
they're genuinely nice people. Her and
Yes.
James.
Oh, yes. We should have them on.
So I'm using this little oiler tip or glue
Uh,
applicator tip. You're
okay.
going to do this about the same thing, right?
Okay. With the
And the
pointy
idea
end.
here
Uh-huh.
is to just create a
Yeah.
texture.
So it looks like an acorn cap.
Yep.
All right, cool.
We'll put on the stem at the very end. So, because this is fairly fresh putty, one of the things I should mention is, let's get it under here. The putty, when you get used to working with it, has different stages of hardening. And there's actually techniques that work better at certain stages of it. So right now it's still a little soft, so you get kind of a bubbly impression when you use a round pokey tool or a round ring tool, whatever you want to call it, tube tool. So what we're going to do, and we'll probably see this again down the road, is we've got these. Let's see if I can
You could
get
do
it.
dragon scales like this too, huh?
Yes, absolutely, and that's what I was going to say.
I beat you to it.
Well, that's good.
Thanks.
One of the things it is useful for is actually defining a volume, a small volume in your putty. So if you use the same amount of pressure, it's going to bubble up about the same everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, this is hard to see that far away. Maybe if I take off my glasses. Oh, yeah, that's better. No, it's not. Maybe put on some different glasses. That might be
I'm
better.
sure Bob and Julie are watching my part, just shaking their heads, going,
Well,
he should stick to painting.
Yeah, the only problem is then I can't see that. Boy, this is. So anyway, now what I want you to do is take. I'm using this tool right here, the double-ended tool.
Yeah. Did you already finish yours?
I just made the dots because the dots aren't going to be. We're not done with the dots yet.
Oh, I still got to make my
Okay,
dots.
they can be loose.
Okay. Oh, I was like really trying. Should have gone faster. I thought I was going fairly quickly.
No, that's fine. If
Can
you
they
were going to
overlap at
use
all?
this technique works really good for smaller, bumpier areas. You talk
Mm-hmm.
about dragon or whatever, or a lizard.
Mm-hmm.
Works really good for that. For scales, it's okay, but nothing beats Julie's hand sculpted scales on her
Oh,
dragons. But they're not done this way. I'm just warning you.
no, there was a lot of old school dragons that had scales sculpted more like this way, not the way that Julie does
Right.
those interlacing kind of armor plating scales. I don't see what you're doing. You're off camera. Kind of washed out too.
Well, now last time you griped that.
Yeah, your exposure is maybe. Oh, that's
Well,
black
there
and
we
white.
go.
Let's
That's
not do
better.
that. That's much better. That's your. What are you
What
clicking?
is that? What is going on with this thing?
I,
There we go.
no, that's black and white. Do you not see in color anymore?
No, I can't.
That's upside down.
Well, there's too
That's
many
right
buttons
side
on
up.
this thing. Oops.
There you go. That's
There.
color. I can see. I
Okay.
can see color in your
I was trying
fingers.
to make it. How do you make it less bright?
So there's an exposure. There's a plus or minus exposure towards the bottom. So you have the green. You have the green one, right? You have the green
Yeah.
light, the green camera. So towards the bottom, there's the power at the very bottom. Then there's the the focus, autofocus, and the next two is exposure up and down.
I don't know. I think the black and white was probably where it's at, to be honest.
Yeah.
Maybe even the red filter.
I know. There was that. I want the infrared.
There. Okay. That's a little bit glary. Okay. So what I wanted to do, and I'm going to do it because this is hard to see in a.
What do you think of mine? Mine's pretty cool.
It's very good.
Yeah.
But what I
It's
want to
very
do
acorny.
is, it is so far, but it's going to get
Yeah.
even better.
Okay.
So if we, hang on a second, I'll get back on camera. If we take, I'm just going to take one here,
Ah,
one dot. Well,
one
maybe
dot.
I'll do it a different way. Let's do this dot here.
Uh-huh.
Now you can take the pointy end of this tool, this one, you got this one that we talked about? With the
The
spoon
ones
on the
that you
one end and the little half knife on the other,
uh I have
like a
the
palette knife.
spoon. So here's the spoon, and then the
Okay,
palette knife. I think I didn't
turn
put
it
those same
outside.
ones on. Which one? This one?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. I need okay, hold on.
okay.
I'm gonna switch them out so they're on the same tool.
I thought we did this already.
Um I don't know. Do you want the green thing in the middle or the brown one in the middle?
Doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
So I'm working on a
Okay.
little slightly bigger one
All right.
so that we can see what I'm talking about.
I'm
Now, one of the
watching.
cool things you can do, because you've defined that area with that pokey thing,
Mm-hmm.
you can actually take and start at the top of that and pull it back out.
You're pulling that dot out?
Yeah, pulling it out one way toward you, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And do I need that big of a glob to start with my dots?
No, I was just trying to show.
Okay.
I don't know if we can see that.
All right. God, it's going opposite in the freaking camera. So I'm gonna
So,
make a
anyway,
dot.
what you're doing is kind of flattening the dot a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
we're using the pluck characteristics of the putty, right? Which is you let it just for an instant adhere to the end of your tool, right? Because it'll stick there for a minute. And you use that quality to pull that back.
Oh, you're pulling away the putty from the dot,
Yeah.
like this, right? Where I'm pulling it away, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
okay.
Because if you look at an acorn, they're not really just little bubbles, right?
Hmm.
So
Oh.
on your smaller piece, you would start in the center or on the
Yeah.
edge. I'd probably on the edge, but go around and pull out toward the circumference of it, the perimeter of that blob. Always pull out toward the edge of that of the acorn cap that you're using.
I'm confused. Can I see yours real
Okay.
close? I
That's about the best I got.
still don't
So,
understand. Do it again.
well, here's what I'm going to do because, again, we're a little bit. So let's just say,
All right. You're off camera.
just give me a second here, dude. What I'm trying to do now is just to demonstrate what I was talking about with a bigger piece.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay.
So you're pushing the clay away from the center
Well, I've
area.
got
Yeah.
that dot there now, right? Pretend that's one of
Okay.
those little dots.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm going to start at toward the center of the acorn, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if this is the center up here, this is the edge of the acorn shell, I'm going to take that and pull it back out. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically you are making like a little tiny scale. But it's going to be fairly consistent, but not annoyingly so. it's not going to look mechanical by doing it this way, but you've defined the volume from that initial poke that you've done, right? Good Lord, it's like working with a child. You know, my daughter teaches sixth graders, and they're always snickering. Maybe I could get her to come in here and help. She does teach art to children. So,
Okay. All right.
so the whole idea is to use that round definition to create a surface where you can pull out some scales to make it interesting.
Ah.
Right? Can you see
I,
what I've done here? See, look at that.
okay. Oh,
You get it?
not really, but
Okay, go to the top of the dot
uh-huh.
and pull back toward yourself.
Okay. I'm just gonna start over.
Push in a little bit and pull back. Push in a little bit and pull back. Push in a little bit and pull back. And if you keep doing it, eventually you won't need that little dot maker because you'll be able to figure out from your tool what kind of scale pattern you can do, what kind of texture you can do with it.
Oh, okay.
So there you see, that's a good picture. See how I did that? Now look at it.
And that is scales.
Look at it! Huh?
That's pretty amazing. That's scales.
Yeah. And
Okay.
by using that, by using
Ah.
something to define those dots, it
Uh-huh.
gives you about the same volume to work with all the time. But like I said, with working a little bit, you're going to be able to define that just with the tip of your tool. You'll figure out how far in you have to go. Yeah, see how you can pull it back?
Like that?
Yep. And then you can shape each scale as you need to. No, you're off camera.
You are just on camera, period. I'm not.
No. All I see is your work surface.
All I see is your work surface because
Yeah,
Justin has you zoomed in.
I have no. I've given each of you each other's full camera feed so you can see details better.
Ah.
So instead of seeing the primary screen, which doesn't really do you any good, I've given you Jason's screen.
Oh.
All right, I see.
So
well, thanks for telling us that in advance, because now
I mean, I just did it. I literally just did it.
I thought all the vapors from this epoxy putty was filling my brain with BPA. So
Well,
anyway,
that is true, Jason. As a side note,
yeah,
that is true.
Well, I'm already down the road on that, so. But you see how allowing it to adhere to the tip of your tool for a little while and then pulling back. I mean, we're talking a microsecond, but it's enough to pull it back so you can pluck it out, right? That was Justin, the main objectives here.
Can I at least see a camera I can't. I don't know if mine's on camera or not in this arrangement.
It's to the lower right hand or left hand corner.
Oh, that's fair. I guess you need an actual feedback.
I need feedback on where I am.
What I would do is turn on. You remember on vMix, you know how you disable that box? That box probably wouldn't be a bad idea in this case.
It's perfect. That's a great idea, Justin.
There you go.
Look at you. Boom. Bingo.
They don't call me engineer for no reason.
That's right.
Is that what they call
it? So anyway,
they don't
you're
call
getting
me that,
it.
no.
I can see that you're getting it that way. I would go ahead and go back if this were a critter or something. Go back and refine those scales, right? Or those bumps or whatever. And with this technique, you can create an interesting surface fairly rapidly that will allow it to be painted or dry brushed or highlighted or whatever.
No, I like the potential here of like scales or
Yeah, it works. It works good for
yeah.
scales. It works good for blending uh, some things to the other. And we'll use a similar technique, only much smaller. The idea is similar when we do fur. See, you're already
And
using that. See how you dip it and you can pull it like that. So you probably
oh,
don't
okay.
even need to.
I was being too cautious before, and then I looked
Yeah.
at yours close up, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Well,
I'm
you're
just
used
being
to
way
doing
too.
all those pointillism dots on
Yeah,
your miniatures, so you've got
yeah.
that consistent flick of the wrist down. There he goes again, man.
Oh, hey, Justin, you want to pay attention to this too. Guess what I was able to order today? I am so stoked. Guess. What have I not? What have I wanted to buy, but I couldn't buy because they wouldn't allow me to buy it? They weren't available.
Mushrooms, mushrooms.
Yeah, LSD.
No, it's not a drug.
Oh,
I know
okay.
that.
Oh well, let's take up another 10 minutes while we all try to guess. Anybody in chat have an idea what the hell Michael's talking
Is it
about while
hobby
we're trying to
related?
scope?
No, not hobby related, but
Oh,
fun
good. Well,
diversion
that's even
related.
better.
Fun diversion.
Mm.
Uh, Badminton
Every,
shuttlecocks made with actual feathers.
everybody wants one, but they can't get
Because I
one
know you're a
because of
big
supply
badminton
and
guy.
demand.
Oh, I know what you got.
Asente's already got it.
PS5.
It
Asente's
is. It
got
is a
it.
PS5. I was about to say it's a PS5 because he plays PlayStation.
I got an
Where did you get
email.
one?
I got an email alert from PlayStation
Really?
Oh,
So you
yesterday
didn't
because
have
you
to
were in the
evening.
wait in a
queue, I
queue
assume.
or anything?
I was in the queue. Yeah, I got in the
In the
queue and
queue, you got to
I
have
just
7
signed up for the
windows
queue.
open.
I had
Well,
forgot
good.
about the queue. No, it
That's
was
being a good little
easy.
consumer.
It was easy. But no, it was awesome. This is cool. You know what? This would be great. Just simple. I'm thinking of my whole basing is a lot of potential for plant making here.
Absolutely, it works great with leaves. If you go back and pick just one of those
Uh
scales
huh.
you've made
Uh huh.
and go ahead and pull it up a little bit more and refine it,
Oh.
you could easily pull that into a leaf
Oh yeah. Look at that.
and put it up like that.
Look at
Now,
that.
some of this stuff
You're a
we
miracle worker.
we don't do this a lot of times for making a castable miniature because anytime you make a hollow underneath a projection like that, it can cause problems in the casting.
Uh,
It's an undercut, right? But since we're doing this for you and your
I don't want to
basing
drive.
and your
Yeah.
sculpting, you can do anything you want as far as that. So it's complete freedom without having to worry about it being produced later.
Oh, this is
So
cool.
you can pull those out. You can pull those little scales out and make them little leaves, whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, make sure I'm staying on camera. Um,
Okay.
is that? Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, cool. I'm
Now
a
we're
little
not going to
behind on
do
the.
this right yet because
Oh,
we don't want to put we don't want to turn this upside down on your cap for your acorn. But
okay.
finishing the acorn theme, we're going to take a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more putty. And this is the other benefit of having one of these plastic sheets. Okay. If you take the plastic sheet, you notice that you can see underneath, you can still see what you were working on, right?
Ah, damn
So
it.
we know how big that little acorn thing is.
Yeah.
So using that as a guide, like I said, if you're going to do mirror image, just mirror image flat surfaces, this works really well. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Works well for wings, especially if you're only doing one side of wings.
Oh, dang it. Hey, everybody. Subs. We need subs. 5 subs and you get a Poke Tool. You don't get it. You get a chance to win it. It's not like you get a free email from a PlayStation that you're allowed to buy one.
Boy, there's a lot of lag here. There we go. Sorry, guys. So anyway, you get the point with this, right?
Okay. Are we redoing that again?
No. Doing what again?
I did one with the acorn top. Or is that the first acorn?
Did the acorn top. Now you're going to do the acorn bottom. Did you see what I was doing?
Oh,
you don't have the clear thing. Okay.
I don't.
Great. So there goes my whole lesson plan. So anyway, the whole idea behind this is you can see.
Okay. Oh, I get it. I get what you did. All right, I missed it. I was looking for the plastic thing. I didn't realize it was that critical of a tool. I just thought it was an added-on kind of thing.
Well, there's a couple things about this plastic sheet. And you don't have to use a divider for a plastic box. You can use a plastic milk carton and cut it up into sheets. That works well. Okay. It's a type of plastic it is. But the whole idea is you can see from one side to the other.
I.e. clear.
Well, translucent. I wouldn't call it clear, but yeah, clear. Okay, good.
Clear-ish.
So I'm not going to wait for you to do this because you can't, because you didn't bring all the required materials to class.
Fail. All right.
Okay, so anyway, that's the whole idea. So when you eventually peel these off.
Oh, that's what you're doing. I get it.
Yeah, when you eventually peel these off, you'll pluck them both off, right? And then if you've made the nut portion a little smaller around than the cap, you'll stick it on the cap with a little tiny bit of putty and make just a little rim around the top part and blend it in with the texture you already have.
Yeah, it's magic.
Okay?
It's magic.
Now, what I was talking about is as far as different stages, if you're trying to get a mirror polish on putty that's still pretty fresh, it can be pretty exasperating. So sometimes you have to let it sit and get, say, half hard. And then, I had to beat you to the snicker because I knew it was coming. And then go back with your spoon tool.
Okay, spoon tool. I'm just gonna fake one. I'm gonna fake one. It's gonna be really close because not all acorns are perfectly formed.
Right.
Oh, smooth.
And then lightly burnish the surface. This spoon tool, I keep calling it a spoon tool, but it actually reminds me more of a burnisher like we used to use in jewelry.
Spoon.
Or metalworking.
What show is that?
But you can use that ultra smooth steel surface to impart that same surface to your sculpt.
Because we're doing the nut right now. We're smoothing the nut.
Now, the other thing is that I'll mention here is just like that putty adhered to your tool a little bit and you're using that property to pluck it out, it will also adhere to your fingerprints. Yes. So if you leave your finger without moving it, it starts to leave a fingerprint in the putty. Okay? But the ridges on your finger, as long as you keep it moving, also makes for a very good smoothing tool. Oh. Your hands are still your best and primary tool.
Yes, always.
But then if you keep your hand in motion or your finger in motion across the surface of the putty, you can keep it smoothing. Okay. But if you stop for a minute, it's going to take up your fingerprint.
Do you have miniatures that you've made over the years and you realize, oh shit, there's my fingerprint?
Every damn one of them. I even made a fingerprint file digitally so I can still add fingerprints to my work.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You should have. That's cool. All right. I have a smooth nut now. My nut is smooth.
All right. That's good to know.
These nuts is smooth and shiny. Look at that. Oops, I'm off camera. Maybe I'm too zoomed in. There we go.
All right. So that's our little quick lesson on pulling out a texture and using polyethylene or polypropylene sheet. Now, one of the things I was going to talk about last time, I think, or maybe we didn't do it. In the same vein, damn, I wish I could see this in real time.
See, people got my spoon reference. I'm proud.
Well, that's good.
Wait,
I'm
what
glad
do you
that
see
you're
in real
reaching
time,
our.
Jason?
I'm watching on Twitch.
Oh, I see.
All I can see is Michael's anyway.
What? Can't you see what you're doing?
No. I can see Michael's face and Michael's work surface.
Oh, right. He never clicked on the center thing like I did.
No. But I meant like it's right in front of you.
Yeah, but I can't tell where I am. I'm trying to keep it over the same spot, but.
Oh, you're in the great spot. You're doing great.
Yeah. You're perfectly lined up. You haven't moved.
So what did you make a snake and then just put it on the flat surface?
And I flattened it out
with the spoon. Spoon.
Yeah, really, this configuration, as we mentioned before, all sculptors have one of these, at least one. The famous Wax 5 was like this. The tool that Julie made me has a similar set of things on it, a little tiny spoon and then a knife on the other end. And probably if you only had one tool besides your fingers, you could get 90% of your sculpting done that way.
Did I show you my Julie tool? There's my Julie tool.
Yeah, I have the same one. I made mine a little shorter and stuck it in a bigger handle.
Yeah, I was so honored to get it the way it was. I didn't want to change it at all.
Well, I was having some problems with arthritis, kind of arthritis early on, and I had to have a larger diameter to hang on to.
Yeah.
I don't have that anymore.
I'm not going there. That was too easy.
Well, we have to be able to talk about this stuff, Michael.
That's true.
Also, Jason, while he's messing with whatever he's messing with, if you look at your vMix call, the square you usually disable, if you hit that, then you should be able to see yourself.
Oh, okay.
In proportions that make more sense.
I'm still going to start making some more plants.
Yeah. So anyway, we've done that snake, and I've switched to a different tool. It's just a little bit bigger.
Okay. Maybe we want a nice straight edge. Okay.
Just to make some nice straight edges.
Got it. Oh yeah, this one. This was the tool you provided. Does this tool have a name?
No, it's
okay. Straight edge tool.
I get them from a tool bin at a gun show. Guy comes in. I think they're all made in Pakistan. They're all dental tools. Even the I mentioned the Wax 5 before. That's an orthodontia wax tool.
It says,
wax working tool.
It has SS Pakistan on it.
Yeah.
I don't know why there's two S's before the Pakistan.
Because it's a ship?
I don't think it's a ship, Justin. I think it's a country.
No, it could be a ship. There's a non-zero number of ships named
but
Pakistan.
I'm not sure the ship itself has much use for dental tools, but who knows? They're doing some wonderful stuff in defense research now.
I think that ship has sailed, Jason.
Oh,
Jeez, that's terrible. Good Lord.
that's worse than any of my jokes.
I would
Good job,
say
Justin.
probably more than worse.
Yeah.
I would
yeah,
say
it's awful.
worser.
Worser?
Worser if I was of a mind to do so.
Grammatically challenged.
So now that you've got, let's just say, for the sake of brevity.
Okay. I think we're
Okay.
beyond that point.
Take
Okay.
put just a little teeny tine of that Skinner balm on the very tip of your finger.
Okay.
Just a little tiny bit.
Yeah.
Rub it off on your thumb so there's not more on there.
Yeah.
And now just use your fingerprints to smooth that. It looks kind of choppy. There you go. Okay, good. Now you could take your X-Acto and you can cut an edge in there if you want. Cut both those edges if you've got an X-Acto knife.
Yeah, this one's fairly clean.
Okay. One of these days, I'm going to show you how to make a tool out of an X-Acto knife that works really well.
Boom. Look at that. It's precision.
Put a little bit of that Skinner's on the knife too. It'll help it go through it. Just like beeswax
cut both
on
edges?
a saw. Yeah.
I could have been a doctor.
Yeah. You should have been. Actually, I'm kind of glad you're not, because
yeah, me too.
Imagine the loss to the painting world and the loss to the medical world if you had become one. I mean, that would have you would have shown up without your scalpel and your doctor bag. So now that we've got that, this is the whole purpose of this exercise was to show you now if you pick up the edge of that, just the edge, and roll it up.
Yeah.
Pick up the edge and just kind of roll it back. There you go. Just lightly, lightly, lightly. See how super smooth that edge is?
Ooh, yeah.
That side. Yeah. So if you're doing a belt or a strap and you make it that way first, you can lift that, and then the side that you were having trouble getting smooth goes on to the miniature because that's going to be hidden. The other side, which is super smooth, is going to be the side that's facing out for your strap or your belt.
Yeah, cool.
See how that works?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, because we've used this kind of putty, if you just go ahead and leave it again, like we talked about, fold it back to the snake or whatever, and just let it sit there overnight.
Okay.
It'll harden off, and you can actually use your files and your sandpaper and carve a sword blade out of that, or a dagger blade, or whatever. You could use the same technique for making timbers, square timbers or 2x4s, a little thicker, and then you let it sit for a little while, but right before it gets completely hard, which is another skill that you have to build up over time. You'll learn the stages of the putty. But right before then is a good time to scribe in some grain lines if you're going to do it. And then you just let it set, and then the next day you can have your lumber, whatever you've built out of it, or your sword blank, or your whatever. The same idea, you can make round or different shield shapes. One of the things about this polyethylene plastic is you could draw a shape of a shield, for instance. Say you want to do a complex leaf shield. Draw it out on a white piece of paper with a black line, and then put your plastic over it, and then put your blob of putty and just keep tapping it until you get it to that shape. then let it harden off, and you can sand it down to where it looks more like a shield.
So
Right?
lesson learned, have your tools with you before you learn.
Well, I'll tell you, I would every once in a while buy these toolboxes just to get the plastic sheets, because
Yeah.
after a while, the Skinner balm starts to etch into them, and they start getting scratched. And
Hey,
those
Jason, there was
those
a
tools are like
question why
those boxes are like
skin,
$3 at
we talked
what?
about it last time, but Skinner Bomb versus Vaseline. Why is Skinner Bomb better? 1, 2, 3, go.
I find Skinner balm to be less thick and easier to remove from your hands. It's not quite as intense. It's easier to remove from the sculpt. Once you're done sculpting, if you're going to go right into painting the sculpt, it's much easier to remove with a little soapy water, because you'll want to wipe off any bit of grease. You know how that works before you're painting something.
Yeah.
But Skinner balm seems to be, to me, to be a lighter thing. It also smells pretty good. We tried
It
using
does.
Vapo Rub for a while, but even Vapo Rub was a little thicker. So that was that. Let's see.
That was fantastic. I had a
Kathy
shitty
asked
day at
about
work today.
Vapo Rub. That'll work. So will Vaseline. You just have to remember, you don't want to use ever too much of it at all. It's just a little tiny bit to provide a tool release, because the putty is so sticky. But once you've worked in that with putty and some kind of petroleum release, you'll realize how little of it you have to use, and very few times do you have to use a lot, and those are real special instances.
Wow, this has been fun. I had a really shitty day at work today, and this is a great way to
Did you?
make that go away. Yeah.
Well, I've said several times that art has saved me any number of times in my life, and it has
Nope.
literally saved my life several times. So I advocate that. If you're having trouble with other aspects in your life, go create something or try to create something. And
Yeah.
if you have trouble
Yeah.
creating it, make it something easy that you can get done, like an acorn or a
Or
squirrel.
so the leafy plant, this pole thing, it's got
Yeah,
so much cool potential to it. And I could
yeah,
see where you're talking about fur too, that I could
right,
see that being such a cool way to do a different way to do fur. I've always done, well, always, I've done a couple of times where I just did fur where I was doing lines, like sketching, drawing, but I
right.
like this a
Well,
lot
I'd
better
like to
because you
get
can,
into fur, because we've
yeah.
burned up some time. So next time when we start putting fur on the squirrel, we'll put muscles and then
Okay.
fur on the next round. I'll show
Okay.
you a couple different ways to do fur that's a little bit yields a better result than just scribing in lines.
Okay.
Okay. To
Yeah.
that
No.
end, I was going to show you this this steel tool again. Sometimes you get these, like I said, they're not expensive, couple $3 at a gun show, or there's a place in Oregon. I'll find the thing, and we'll make a resource page for this sculpting show. Um, these edges are done very fast. The edges on the spoon tool and the edges along the thing, and very
Mm-hmm.
often they're raggedy. And there's only a few times when you need a super sharp edge, like a super sharp knife edge in sculpting. More often
Mm-hmm.
than that, you need something that comes to a point but is rounded. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'll do the same thing and take a little whetstone
Mm.
and just clean off all those little burrs that are left over from the mechanical grinding. Okay, so it's very much like sharpening a knife, only you're actually using it to take some of those burrs off, right?
Ah.
And on that knife edge, it works. And then on these spoon edges, again, on Stefan's tools, you don't have to worry about that. He's done all of that for you. And I know that Julie works over those pretty good too, so you won't find them most sculptors handmade tools. But when you buy these inexpensive ones, very often it's good to take a little bit of a whetstone.
So if
And
they don't
just,
have a whetstone, I was just using 400 sandpaper.
it's 400 is probably gonna put a little more grooves in there than you want, unless you do it real lightly. But
Like 800 or
maybe
something?
I'd
Or
probably go
16?
up in the sandpaper, maybe 800 or 1,000.
Okay. Okay.
You can also remove quite a bit with just leather, sometimes rough cartridge paper,
Oh,
anything to get those little burrs off of there.
okay.
But you live in Colorado, you live up in the mountains. Why don't you have a whetstone?
I don't. I never had a whetstone. I try not to kill things.
You don't kill things with a whetstone.
Well, you kill things with things that you've used. Ooh, look at that. Show us the pack. I like the little case that it comes in.
Yeah, this is. I'm sure it's an
How-
antique. This was
Yeah.
my father's for many years. So
Wow. How cool. How cool. That's
yeah,
awesome.
I keep all that stuff around. I don't know
Yeah.
about you, but it's nice to keep those older things in the family sometimes if they still work.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Oh, yeah. No, that's fun.
we've got our.
Yeah. Bryce
So
is
this
right.
obviously
Michelle
this
doesn't let
panel.
me.
Once you do that, you're going to have to
Yeah.
store it upright, just in a little clamp or between a couple of
Ah.
hooks or something.
If you kept
You
the
can even just
case
set
that you
it.
bought just for the inserts, you could just stick it back in the case and it would dry.
Yep, you could, and it'd be its own
Yeah.
holder.
Yeah.
You can also just set it on your little Skinner balm thing, whatever, overnight.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So, and then we'll put that away. We'll put that away for now. Next time we'll start on the squirrel itself. Now that we've got the nut done. No, this has been fun.
Yeah. We did better today than last time. Last time was our first one.
Yeah, Kathy says whetstones are good for wood carving too. So,
Yeah.
you went immediately to blood sport, where
Yeah.
if you're cutting up vegetables, you might want a whetstone. So
Oh. I am a sous chef.
I know you were a sous chef, and that's why it
Yeah.
surprises me you don't have a whetstone or some kind of strop or some kind of thing to
Strop.
keep your knife
Is
sharp.
that what the barbers use? Is a strop?
The leather, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You don't have the little
I-
sharpening stick where you. Huh.
I will next time. I will.
Well, no, it's okay. It's
No,
don't
I
feel
feel like less of a man now that I didn't have
don't feel inadequate.
whetstone.
I'm just surprised, that a rugged
challenging my
outdoorsman
manhood by the fact that I don't
like
have
you
a whetstone.
you don't have a whetstone.
I have a knife.
That's good. Then you should have a whetstone. If you have a knife,
I
you should
know.
have a whetstone.
I know. I think I probably do somewhere. I'm just
sure
going to
you
say
do.
that I do, so we don't have to talk about it
Good,
anymore.
good. See, that's the first way to make everybody impressed by you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it looks like we're at 4:03, so I don't think we should start any other operations right now.
Okay. Should I bulk out the squirrel and have him more bulked out before next show?
If you want,
Mm-hmm.
finish the spine, take a little tiny bend. Well, yeah, bulk out, put a little V shape on the chest,
Okay.
and just go to where the shoulders would attach. Make a little tiny
Yeah.
V on there,
Yeah.
and get that spine secured. See, I think on mine, I actually brought it all the way up the spine.
Man, your arms are
And
crazy.
like I said,
longer
when
than
you do
my
something
arms.
like this, the arms are the last thing. The arms and the head are the last two things you're going to pose. So you
Okay.
can leave those uncovered for now. But get that body.
Well, I had some
Use
extra
that little
putty.
putty you got left. Go ahead
Yeah.
and strengthen the spine so that we have something to push against next time we sculpt.
I also hadn't told you guys this, but we're gonna have
Yeah.
when we're done with this, we're gonna have a surprise guest, and that surprise guest is gonna be Ron. By which you're gonna pitch that to him, okay, Michael? And if he decides to make a limited run of it, maybe we can give him away on the show. But it'll only be yours, Michael, not Jason's.
only. Oh, okay. Okay.
Only yours, yeah.
See?
What?
He should be our first guest. Well, we expect yours to be great, Jason. You've been doing this
Yeah,
for 45 years.
right. Damn right. Then I'll get it casted, and then it'll be sent over to China and made in bones, and I'll get to be in bone 6.
That's a whole
Oh, I'm
lot.
sure you will be.
It's
I'm sure they'll want to immortalize that in a
Yes.
steel
very,
mold,
very ambitious. Yes.
in
Yeah.
a
Um,
very
Yeah.
expensive steel mold.
Yes,
You
the
don't
mangled
realize,
squirrel.
when you're a professional sculptor, they
Yeah,
only put maybe one out of every 10 sculpts you do in those steel molds. Most of them they just throw in the garbage.
oh
exactly.
wow.
I've seen the garbage can.
Yeah.
Except if you're Julie, all Julies get put in
Well,
molds.
that's different. I
Any,
mean,
yeah.
that's a stratospheric level. Julie and Bob are
Ooh,
masters of the craft.
you guys want to see something cool?
Sure.
Look at that. Oops.
Oh, that's looking good. Pull back even more if you can.
Is that good? I think that's as far
Ah,
as I can go.
yeah, that's better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. Dun dun. You guys have seen me working on this off and on for a while.
So is the dragon
And
dead?
the dragon is dead. The dragon's head has been
Oh,
severed, and there's a lot of
oh, look
blood.
at that.
I know, but
Gee
look in the back.
whiz.
It's a mama dragon, and the baby dragon's going to be all alone now.
Oh, so it's a
Oh,
super sad story.
yeah. Super sad story. And there's a little treasure right there, too.
Well,
Just for the
hopefully the
hell of it.
winged lady will adopt a baby dragon.
Nah, she's going to kill it. Or
Really?
it'll escape and grow up and seek revenge.
Well, see, this
You
is what I'm
think?
talking about. Art is therapy. If you look at this piece, you can see
Hmm.
Michael's working out a lot of stuff here, a lot of deep, deep problems.
Yeah. Oh! I wanted to show this off. I haven't got up out of the chair. I did a lot this episode. Hey, remember last week
Yeah,
with Trayon?
I
I
do.
was started painting the ogre like minutes before the show, and really had a fun time with it, and just kind of did a quickie paint job of them and finished them up. But I think this is a good segue into Trey's Kickstarter, Warbands of the Northern Warbands of the, look up Red Box Game on Kickstarter or something like that. And he was on last week. We are pubbing the crap out of his Kickstarter. Check it out. This
Yeah,
guy
if
is
you
an
want,
older Red Box.
go back and watch that show on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it up there yet, Justin? I'm sorry, I should have jumped it.
Say that again. Sorry.
Is the Trey show up on YouTube yet?
Yes. I don't know. Let me ask Quindy.
It might be in the
Quindy
past
is
shows on the Twitch
Quin,
stream.
Quindy has been helping me keep up with all the uploads, so you guys can
So the
absolutely thank her
fact
for
that
that.
things are actually getting uploaded is because of Quindy, right?
Yes, 110%.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, she
They
posted
weren't.
a link. Very good. Thanks, Quindy.
Yeah. Quindy's amazing.
Quindy is basically the assistant
Yeah.
that I'd never formally hired. Like she deserves a lot of credit. So
Yeah. Yeah. So this is and this little guy will be going off to Trey one day as a thank you for coming on the show. Here's a fun little piece. So next week, or what are we doing next week?
Well, there's one question. It looks like maybe Christine asked it about: do you pose the
Uh,
arms of the wireframe later? I always do. Um, I always do because I don't always have a solid concept on where the arms are going to go or how it's going to cast. So I do leave those for later. If it's a larger piece that I know is going to be in pieces, I even leave a little gap around the wire where I'm going to eventually cut it. And I'll sculpt the arm in, then I'll snip it off so that I can make the joint that way. But for instance, if you were to do an elaborate chainmail shirt or a vest or something, you'd want to do that first and then bend the arm over it to make sure that you had it the right way. Otherwise, I mean, you could bend the arm first and then do the chain link around it, but to me, that always seemed it was easier to cover up work I'd already done.
The dragon's head is from an old Sandra Garrity model. Um, I don't remember. It's really old. I don't. I maybe it made its way into bones. This is an old metal version of it. And I had to pull out the hacksaw and cut it even further off to get it
So,
shorter.
are you going to make another diorama with the rest of the body?
No, I don't have the rest of the body. I only had the head version.
Oh,
Yeah, because I think at the time it's been so long.
you pull it out of the melt bin?
Um, did I? Yeah, I think I did. Honestly, to
Huh.
be honest, yeah, I probably pulled out of the belt bin at one of the Reaper cons. That's where I tend to get a lot of
Gotta say, you could
bits and
saw
stuff
it
like
up so
that.
that you know the prime cuts of dragon.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. If you see, and I'll save this for, I'll bring it to ReaperCon. But the back end where I cut it, I attempted to sculpt a vertebrae, a vertebral column.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah. So you can kind of see it. It's covered in blood now, but um,
Um,
yeah.
let me see what you're working on. Push down that blob on his
The
right
shoulder.
side. Yeah. And to my eyes, it looks like if you bent those down at the shoulder point, it'd be too
Mm-hmm.
wide. So I'd take a little bit off those points of those triangles,
Okay.
unless you want a super buff squirrel man.
My squirrels are going to be pretty buff.
Well, he's gonna. I mean,
I
we're gonna have him all covered in hair, so
Yeah,
I guess it
I'm a
doesn't
little
matter.
intimidated now due to Justin's challenge of having Ron on. Does Ron even know this yet? Justin?
Say that
He's
again.
not paying attention.
He's
Does
gone.
Ron know he's coming on?
No, no, it's a surprise. That's the
Okay.
point. No, we
Ah,
invite him
okay.
on, and then
Uh-huh.
Then you
and then
Oh, we hard
spring
then
sell
we're
him
him.
like,
on Michael
it's
Proctor's
like, hey,
sculpted
right, we've been doing this for the
squirrel.
last number of weeks. Look what Michael has
Uh-huh.
made.
Ah,
Tremendous.
okay.
Because we
Ooh,
know he
that's a
won't
lot of
see it
pressure.
at least until then.
Because my
Yeah,
theory
it's a
is
buff.
we get everyone together, and in front of everybody on the show, he's gonna have to go, ooh, I don't know if I want to make that, but he's not gonna do that
Yeah.
Oh, you know
because
No,
what is
we're
going to
gonna put him on the
happen though?
spot.
that's what we want to
We're
do.
going
Put
to
him
need
on the spot.
copies because Michael's going to want to paint it right away.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll have to send it
So we'll
in and
need to
get
get
Gent to
copies
cast it
made
up.
post haste.
Yep. Well, Gent could do that. Gent could cast him up and make us some metal masters and stuff.
Oh, she
Well,
absolutely could.
Yeah.
she could. I don't. Who knows how busy she is with actual real projects. So
Yeah.
That's kind of the
Uh,
whole Ron portion of it, right? It's hoping that
I see.
no.
So you need the art
I
director to actually direct for
I
production's
have.
sake.
Do I
yeah.
need to put any green stuff on the tail,
Not
or need to
yet.
leave the tail alone? Okay, cool.
I'd
Should I
leave the
do
All
the
right.
tail
his?
alone.
Should I do his right? Okay, so it is
You want to get
quarter
the
after.
butt done first before you do the tail.
That's what I always say. So it's Tuesday. It's the end of the show. Did we have any subs?
Actually, we had 0 subs. That's the first time in a long time.
Oh my
So,
Oh,
god!
for shame.
Well,
yeah.
look what you guys missed out on. It was a
Them,
Pookie tool.
them's are the
All
beats,
right.
you know?
Well,
Oh.
next time we'll.
We even had. Did we pub it enough? I don't think we pubbed enough. What
We
if
may
we
not
gave
have.
away?
To be fair, we may
What if
not
we
have.
gave? What if we gave away one Pokey tool?
I
How
would do
about?
one. I would do
All
one.
right,
In
let's
fact,
do
let me go
one.
and turn it on right now. Hashtag free.
Hash,
I will give away
hashtag free.
one
One. Hashtag
because
free,
of how
please.
great
Yeah,
this
one should
show
be our
is.
default. We should
Yeah.
always have
Yes.
one to give away.
Yeah. Yeah.
But maybe it's
And
the bent up piece of crap one that Michael has on his desk.
Yeah,
oh
yeah,
yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Not that the
You get.
sculpted part is a piece of crap, but Michael's.
No, it's
How do
I've
you even
mangled
do
it.
that to one of those?
I don't know. I just saw it was on the floor. I think I rolled
Do you
over
have
it
a
with the chair and stuff.
particularly hard super glue that you were jamming that through?
Yeah, it might have been. I don't know. I think it did. It was on the floor, and I think the chair rolled over it a few dozen times. Um, anyways, okay. So we are. Are we ready? Let's ready. Let's do it. So everybody got their hashtag freeze in. We're giving away one Poke Tool today. I understand. Yeah, it's after Christmas. I mean, we're still trying to catch up. But there's Poke Tool. And 1, 2, 3. Are we pulling? Are we pulling?
Let's see. Almost.
I am Turjan in. Skillagrimmer got one in, but you didn't win yet. Okay.
Hold on. You ready, Michael?
1 to 3 days I get my. Okay, I'm ready.
Our winner is.
The winner is Rip Artist has been drawn for the giveaway. Rip Artist, R.I.P. Artist,
or Repartist.
No, that's not appropriate.
You think so, or
Artist.
you think it's Rest in Peace Artist?
It could be any of those things. Repartist.
No, a Repartist. That's not. You're not allowed to say that.
You know what? Quindy, go ahead and look that up. Yeah, I can say whatever I want. Quindy, double check that for me.
Hey, shows. The best show you just finished watching. And then Monday through Friday is Ann doing Paint Reaper Toolbox at 11:30 Central Time, start time. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Mondays, 2 o'clock ish, Beyond the Kit with Rhonda Bender. Tuesdays, us, right? Wednesday, Monday through Fridays is Ann doing her thing, her jam, and then Wednesday is Italy with Luca.
All of Italy.
All of Italy tunes into Luca, and then Thursdays is Ann, Josh, the foam Josh doing foam. And then that show that pays for everybody that says that certain guests are going to be on and never going to be on.
Josh, I'm sure he's happy to know that he's now the foam Josh.
And then Fridays is Reaperland. You ever watch Reaperland, Jason?
Yeah, it's fun.
It's a fun show. It's a fun show.
I don't think I'd
say that even if Dave wasn't the guy that signs the checks.
No, I know. Me too. I probably would. And you're forgetting about John. Why are you dissing John? Reaper John.
Well, because John doesn't sign the checks.
Oh, okay. That's true. Not yet.
And he's just naturally a fun guy. So
yes, he is.
I don't
can't
know if
expect anything that John does.
I don't know if he's a fun guy, but I mean, I feel like you compounded that. You
hilarious.
doubled down, Jason.
Oh,
I did.
I know you doubled down. Anyways, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching. Reaper Aaron is also on Fridays, but not every Friday. It's every other. We just went through our D&D campaign, so not this Friday, but next. We'll be next. So next week, are we going to sculpt some more, or are we going to have a guest on? What do you want to do, Jason?
Well, let's say
play
dealer's choice. Let's figure it out after the show.
Correct. Yeah, like it's because we kind of agreed, and we'll let the audience know this too, that we're gonna try to pull people to be on the show. If we can't get someone, or if schedules don't work out, we're just gonna default to sculpting because there's always plenty of sculpting to do. So
if not, we'll do sculpting every so often anyway. I mean,
yes, correct. That is true. We will hard schedule sculpting for sure.
And that's what we did with this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hard scheduled this. We just jammed it in.
All right. Well, thank you folks for watching.
Yeah, wonderful time. It's a great show. See you next Tuesday. We'll figure out what we're doing in between then and now.
Yes. Yes. On that note,
we had the squirrel done. We could get Ron on, but we don't have the squirrel done. So
who are we rating?
That's a great question.
Music.
Let's go see. In honor of the
outro music. Shut up, everybody.
Do you want to see the otters?
Otters. All
right, let's go otters.
Can you do the otters with this great music?
We will. We will send us off to the otters with this music. Thank you, folks.
Bye.
Have a great rest of your night.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.